ask the Olam just for a moment to let's have a few minutes just to understand again. We spoke on the bus a little bit more. Now we're here by the Heilige Mokim Kodosh, the Tzion of the Heilige Belezem Papa, the Pela Yoetz. Let's understand a little bit more who he was so we can connect even more and even deeper to his Torah, to his personality, to his Midas Tovas, and perhaps that will give us more of a Siyata Dishmaya. So as we mentioned, in 1813 he becomes the Rav of Salistan, Bulgaria, and there was a very interesting thing that happened when he was the Rav. For his time as the Rav, he was 14 years the Rav in Bulgaria. There was not one Yid during the 14 years that he was the Rav that died young. There was not a single Yid that died before his time. Every Yid lived to a very, very old age. No one died young while the Pela Yoetz was the Rav here, which is an interesting thing, and we'll get back to that in a moment. But one time the Pela Yoetz decided to go to Varna, which was a popular vacation city. People used to go there, needed to rest up a little bit. And he decided to go there. He spent some time over there. At one point he said, I need to get back to my city, Tzalist. I need to go back to my Olam. It was Erev Shabbos. He hired a horse and wagon, and he hired a wagon driver to take him back to his hometown. And he realized that the wagon driver was no interest in getting back in time. Shabbos meant nothing to him. But he had to get back for Shabbos Kodesh. And he was going to get stranded in the middle of nowhere for Shabbos. What was going to be? Stop the wagon in the middle of nowhere and just spend Shabbos over there. And the Pela Yoetz was he just didn't know what to do. And he raised his eyes to Shamayim. And he said, Rabbeinu Shel Olam, all my life I did whatever I could to be Machabed the Shabbos Kodesh. I was Machazik Yidin in Shabbos Kodesh. I did so much to Machazik Shabbos Kodesh. Rabbeinu Shel Olam, don't allow me to spend my Shabbos in the middle of nowhere. I just can't do it. And all of a sudden, while he was davening, the driver fell asleep. And then all of a sudden the horses started not to gallop, but they started to run. Within a few minutes, he was already back in his home in that case. He lived until the age of only 42. He was 42 years old when he left this world with so many Sforim, so much Torah that he acquired. And the Olam asks Akasha, if when he was a Rav for 14 years, not a single year died young, why is it that he himself died young? And the answer, one of the answers could be the following. Right before he died, and from here we see Rabbi say who we're dealing with, where we are standing. Right before he died, he had a Ruach HaKodesh, he had a vision that there was a terrible Gzeira on the Klal Yisrael. A very bad plague was going to hit Klal Yisrael, would have affected Klal Yisrael in a terrible, terrible way. And he had a choice. He had a choice that he could leave the Gzeira in that way, or he could offer himself up as the korban to be mechapa for all of Klal Yisrael in all different communities. And he agreed to be the kapara for all of Klal Yisrael. And right after that agreement, he became ill, and he never recovered from the illness, and he died young, and he was a kapara for so many Yidden. Rabbi Sai, we're standing at a keva of someone that the Rabbeinu Shel Olam chose to be a kapara for so many Yidden in Klal Yisrael. Right before he died, Rabbi Sai, right before he died, he said that guarantee, the guarantee that we said on the bus. And he said that anybody that comes to my cave, and we're here right now, and goes to the mikveh and davens, belev nishba, with a broken heart, he says, I'm guaranteeing you, I'm going to daven in Kisei HaKavod, your tefillahs will be answered. How many people have experienced Yeshuas in this very place? How many people have davened by the Heilige Tzion of the Pela Yoetz, and they've experienced tremendous Yeshuas? Rabbi said, this is us right now. We can be Pearl Yeshuas. We can have so much Siyata Deshmaya at this time. So many manias, as we mentioned on the bus, so many things prevented us from being here. The travel company, this, that, and the other, didn't want us to come. No, we found a different mahalach, we found a different idea. And I said, no, we're going to the Pela Yoetz. I spoke to a Choshev Rosh Yeshiva who told me he came to Romania with a group of Bochrim. They were meant to go skiing. The Bochrim heard that the Pela Yoetz is nearby, and they said, Rebbe, we're going to the Pela Yoetz. He said, it's 7 hours drive each way. 7 hours each way. They said, Rebbe, we're going. They went to Daven, and he told me he saw Yeshuas. So Rabbi said we're in an incredible place, and I'll tell you one last Maisa. When the Russians conquered Bosnia. The Pela Yoetz lived there at the time, and they were looking for a place to build a Catholic church. So they found a Jewish cemetery. Now, the Russians had they didn't bother them razoring down a Jewish cemetery to build a Catholic church. So they came in, bulldozers, and they started knocking down matzevas until they reached this very cave where we're standing at this moment. And they reached the matzeva of the Pela Yoetz. They didn't manage. They couldn't get rid of it. They brought explosives in. They tried to explode it. It didn't go. And they realized that was their sign from God that they have to move somewhere else. And as it happened, Rabbi say, true story, the matzeva started to sink in front of their eyes. The whole matzeva of the Pela Yoetz started to sink into the ground, and there was nothing left. And they realized, okay, well, this is too much for us, this is too spooky, and they're getting out of that. Years later, it took years later for Yidden to come in here and eventually to restore it to where it is today. Rabbi say, it's a very, we're standing, Hamokim Shata Oimed Admas Kodesh, this is a Mokim Kodesh, Kivei Tzadikim. We're talking about a tzaddik that was Moshe Nefesh for Klal Yisrael, that was a kapora and a korban for Klal Yisrael. Every single one of us can close our eyes. We all need things for ourselves, for our mishpochas, for Gans Klal Yisrael, as the Pela Yoetz himself writes. Don't be selfish. If you daven for yourself and only for yourself, it shows you have no Avos Yisrael. You daven for Klal Yisrael, you daven for Mashiach, you daven for the Geula, you daven for Refuah Shalema and Shidduchim and Parnasa and Shalom Bayis and good children. There's so much that we need, Rabbi Isai. We're in this place. Close your eyes and just daven and daven and daven, and Be'ez Hashem, the Rebbeinu Shalom will give us all Kabbalah Sat Tfilis and Siyata D'Shmaya.